Some people are born to set lap records. For everyone else, there's our sim racing school videos. And in this vid, we'll cover the racing line. Let's get to it. Our sim racing school series is all about giving you the skills you need to compete in virtual motorsport. And that makes this little knowledge bomb especially important because getting up to speed with the racing line is essential for, well, just about everything else in sim racing. Think of it as the foundation you'll build a house of motorsport techers on. Class in session. Let's break it down into basic racing bro vernacular. The racing line is just the shortest possible route through a track. That is literally it. Smash that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Catch you later. Alright, just kidding. There's more to learn, but that simple definition really is accurate, so there's no need to think of the racing line as some magical secret pathway only pro racers know about. Now we know it's the quickest route, next we'll get to understand why. Can we get a corner for this, please? Ah, there we are, perfect. This is turn 1 at Spa-Francorchamps, and it's a fine corner. It's actually a pretty tight hairpin followed by a really long flat-out section. So the quicker you can get back on the power after taking the corner, the quicker you will be all the way down that straight. It's a great example of taking the classic racing line through a turn. For a right-hand turn like this, you'll always want to approach on the extreme left-hand side. Let's have a look at why that's the case by doing it wrong. So very wrong. Here we are approaching the turn tucked right into the right-hand side. We're braking at our usual braking point, then turning in. But now we've got an incredibly tight angle to get around, and we have to slow right down to enable the car to reach that angle. Our mid-corner speed is at a crawl, and that means it takes us longer to accelerate onto the straight, so we're slower all the way down it. Nightmare. Now let's try again, approaching on the left. We hit the same braking point, and since we've got loads more room on the right hand side this time, the angle's much wider, so we can carry more speed through and get on the power earlier. Much quicker. And that's why the ideal racing line into a corner is always on the opposite side of the track to the apex you're aiming to hit. Simple so far, not breaking a sweat yet. But what happens when we throw some trickier corners into the mix? Here we are at Shanghai to do exactly that. The lap begins with a fast right-hander which tightens as it goes on, immediately followed by a left-hand turn on a downhill section. We know to line up on the opposite side of the track to the apex when we approach the braking zone, and in this case that's the left. But since we know the turn tightens, we have to wait a bit longer before aiming to clip the apex. Why is that? Because we want to clip it at the tightest section of the corner, and since this corner is asymmetrical, we'll need to wait a little bit longer than usual before cutting in. But look, don't take our word for it. Let's see what happens when we do it the wrong way again and turn into the apex super early. We've already scrubbed off a lot of speed to get over to the right, and now we need to keep slowing down in order to stay tight with the apex. As we approach the tightest point of the corner, we're at an awkward angle as we have to leave the right-hander, which slings us out onto the inside of turn 2 right before we need to start turning. So now we're doubly compromised. Mistakes have been made.
Hey, what was he doing?
Now let's use a nice racing line that straightens out both turns and lets us keep max speed through the S's without having to chew the steering wheel like a handful of Percy pigs. Approaching from the left, we flatten out the first part of the corner and stay to the left where we start braking hard for the apex. Now it's time to turn in at the sharpest point, and our angle on exit is just peachy for putting us over to the outside of the left-hander. Crushed it. Using those principles, you've basically got racing lines nailed, whatever circuit you're on. But there are still occasions when you will need to move off it. As nice as it would be if other drivers just politely moved out of your way when they realised you were faster than them, that's not how it works in the real world, is it? No, in real life they'll block you with every fibre of that carbon chassis, cursing you on their race radio all the while. So you need to get creative to find a way past. Overtaking is an art form in its own right, but as far as the racing line goes, you should keep in mind that often the best way to get past someone is to take the inside line, aka the wrong line we illustrated earlier. It's definitely not quicker, but taking that position means they have to wait to turn in after you, so you're effectively forcing them to let you through. Keep in mind though that you'll have to get on the brakes much earlier than normal because of that tighter line you're taking. There's no point in making the lunge up the inside if you're just going to overshoot the corner, because the other driver can then just skip past you again on the corner exit while you're scrabbling around off the track. That should set you on the right track, but we've got plenty more sim racing school content lined up for you. Pun, whatever. So remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so we can let you know when a new video is hot and fresh out of the oven. In the meantime, leave us a thumbs up, let us know what you thought in the comments, and clip those apexes like a pro. Catch you next time.